Welcome to another session on How Did I Do It? I'm Joel Grimes with the Joel Grimes Academy. And so we've done a couple of these now. It's kind of fun to take an image. This is actually almost an image that's not even barely a week old. So in the past, I've taken a couple of my older images. And so we thought, let's just do one that's fairly current. And I have a picture that I shot at one of my workshops. And I'm doing a project for Canon at Adobe Max event, and the theme is double exposure. So the Canon folks said, what do you think if we could do something on the floor, a demo, shooting, doing this thing double exposure? So I thought, yeah, let me take a couple images and see what I could do, practice, because there's some blending modes involved that I needed to kind of remember. Sometimes I stumble across something and go, oh, that's kind of cool. So I took this one image. So let's look at this one first. This is Bryce, one of the models that we use at our workshop here in Phoenix, or in the Phoenix Valley, out here in Buckeye, Arizona. And we shot her on a white sweep. Then originally I had a light on her. And then, I know this sounds funny, some of the best accidents, or the successes are accidents. At one point, the strobe didn't go off on her, but it went off on the background, and we got this silhouette, and I went, ah, that's perfect. And I've done that before, but I wasn't really thinking of it at the time. And so we said, let's continue to do that. We turned off the overhead light. The light that was, actually we had cross light with a white background. So we took out the cross light, and I shot a whole series with this tool. Let me show you the original. This is the original shot, okay? So I took this tool, I bought it at a cloth shop, Joanne Hancock's. Probably $5 worth of tool. It's just black. They have white tool, and I have different colors, but they have, I bought both white and black. And then we put her in a black hat. I don't think her outfit was black, maybe it was. And then I just kind of put this tool all over her and formed it, boom, shot it, and that light would kind of blast through the tool. And when it built up, it actually would look really neat when you had like it kind of overlaying each other. So I got this shot, and I did some other stuff too, and this was one of them. I thought, So what I did was, when I call this double exposure, is I just took two halves. So I took the one here, I just Command J, copied it, and then I went to Command T, which is free transform, and I said flip horizontal, flipped it, and then I just lined them back up together, and then I went to a blending mode called lighten, and went, and that's what happened, right? Well, hold on, let's go back to getting my glasses. And then this happened, is both parts kind of overlapped each other, but because you're on a blending mode, you punch a hole through white. So what I did was I took and I turned it just a little bit so I could kind of get the hat and now the waist, her hands are, it's pretty narrow waist on this shot, but I wasn't looking to make her look realistic. I wanted a kind of an abstract, funky looking, like, what is this? You can tell that there's a hat involved and arms and whatever, but you see her hands. And then I thought, okay, let me think of another element I could do. So I had photographed this, I was on a job, I got off the airplane, I was driving to this location, and off to the side was this, I think it was like a state, not a state park, but a city park. And it had a bunch of these flowers, which, if I knew what kind of flowers they were, lilies, I think they're lilies. And I just pulled over and shot some lilies. And so I had that, and I thought, what can I put in there? So I thought, I'm gonna see if I can find that shot. Found it, then I took and mirrored it or double exposed it and toned the opacity down on the bottom one, so it kind of looked like it was underneath, shadowed. And I just reduced it and dropped it in there. Very simple. Almost like, you could have done that in a dark room back maybe years ago, because just on black. But again, the goal was to be a little bit abstract. And then I took one of my textures and dropped it on the background and gave just a slight little texture behind her, because pure white to me wasn't working. I mean, it looked good. I thought I just need one more element. Anyways, the idea is it's using blending modes, silhouettes, and some other elements to kind of create this abstract, you call it a piece of art. I mean, every picture I take I would call it a piece of art because I'm an artist. And I go through all that, talking about that every one of us has built into us a desire to create somehow. Some are we're more into it than others. And so it's built into us to be artists. And so I'm an artist and you are too. And so when I go and create, I create art. You may not like it, or maybe you like it. Doesn't matter. I'm still an artist, and so are you. So this is kind of a fun little piece. So here's what I would say to you is try doing something you'd probably never do before. Take an idea, take a subject, silhouette. You could probably go the opposite. You could probably take and use a black background and put someone all white and do the opposite look that I just did. But blending mode, lighten, so the opposite of lighten would be darken, obviously, and because you get, if you look at your blending modes, they're grouped. And so you have like screen and multiply, I think, are opposite each other. But I know lighten and darken are. So you can go and say, well, if this works on a silhouette on white, then on a black with white, you can do the opposite and it'll work. So it's kind of fun to go experiment. And if you've never taken blending modes and just go, what would this do? Click, what would this do? Click, what would this do? I probably spent a couple hours fiddling with this just as one image, trying to figure out what would work the best and multiplying the layers to see what would happen. So experimenting, you will get some very cool results that you would never think about, and then you look brilliant and people think you're a genius. And so well, you just put the time in. So that's how I did it. And so I have already made a print of this, and I haven't got a frame for it, but it's already something I want to put on my wall. So those are the kind of images that I like doing. So that's how I did it.